In the age of gods and men, when heroes walked beside legends, one name echoed louder than thunder across the ancient world: Achilles. A man said to be half god, half human, but entirely built for war. His story is not just of strength, but of destiny, pride, and the single weakness that defined him forever. Before Achilles was born, a prophecy had already decided his fate. The gods warned his mother, Thetis, a sea goddess, that her son would be greater than his father, but his life would be short, blazing bright like a flame that burns too fiercely to last. Thetis, desperate to protect him, sought every way to cheat death itself. When Achilles was just an infant, Thetis carried him to the dark river Styx, a river said to grant immortality to those who touched its waters. She dipped her baby into its freezing current, holding him tightly by the heel. The water made every inch of his body invincible, except that tiny spot her fingers held. The heel, the one place the river never touched. As he grew, Achilles was no ordinary child. He was sent to live with Chiron, the wise centaur who trained heroes. Chiron taught him how to fight, how to think, how to lead, and more importantly, how to control the divine fire inside him. While other boys learned to swing swords, Achilles learned how to become one with his weapon. By the time he was a man, even the gods whispered his name with respect. Then came the Trojan War, a war born from love, pride, and betrayal. When Paris, the prince of Troy, stole Helen from King Menelaus, the Greeks gathered their greatest warriors to sail east and bring her back. Among them was Achilles, wearing armor forged by Hephaestus, the god of fire. The prophecy returned to haunt him, for this war would make him immortal in name, but mortal in body. Achilles fought with unmatched fury, cutting through enemies like a storm of blades. But pride, the silent poison of heroes, began to grow. King Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek army, insulted Achilles by seizing a woman he loved, Briseis. In rage, Achilles withdrew from battle. Without him, the Greeks began to fall. And in their defeat, Achilles' pride slowly turned to guilt. Among those who fought beside him was Patroclus, his closest companion, perhaps the only person who could calm his fury. When Achilles refused to return to war, Patroclus put on his armor and led the Greeks into battle in his name. But fate had been waiting. Hector, the prince of Troy, mistook Patroclus for Achilles and struck him down. When the news reached Achilles, something inside him shattered. The warrior who feared no man now trembled with grief. His sorrow turned into rage so fierce that even the gods looked away. Achilles returned to the battlefield, his heart burning like a god's wrath. He cut through the Trojans as if they were shadows, searching only for Hector. Every strike was vengeance. Every scream was a prayer for Patroclus' soul. When Achilles finally faced Hector, the battle stopped. All eyes turned to them. Hector fought bravely, but fate had already chosen the victor. With one thrust of his spear, Achilles ended the prince's life. But his rage did not rest. He tied Hector's body to his chariot and dragged it around the walls of Troy, a moment that even the gods condemned. Later, King Priam of Troy came quietly to the Greek camp, guided by Hermes. The old king knelt before Achilles, kissing the hands that had killed his son. In that moment, the fury melted away, and Achilles remembered his own father. He wept, returning Hector's body to Priam. For a brief moment, the war paused, and so did Achilles' heart. But destiny was not done with him. The gods whispered again. His time was near. Paris, Hector's brother, guided by Apollo, drew his bow. The arrow flew through the smoke of battle and struck the one place that was never touched by the river Styx, his heel. Achilles fell, the world's greatest warrior brought down by a single mortal flaw. The Greeks mourned him as no other. Even the sea seemed to rise and cry for Thetis' son. They burned his body on a great pyre, and his ashes were mixed with those of Patroclus. Two souls united even in death. And so, the name of Achilles did not die with his body. His story crossed centuries, whispered in temples, sung by poets, remembered by kings. He became the symbol of glory and tragedy. A man who was almost a god, undone by the smallest part of himself. Even now, When people speak of an Achilles heel, they echo that ancient truth, that no matter how powerful we become, every heart has its weakness, and every legend carries a wound that time cannot heal.